I think. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. I'm so happy whenever I come and see my students back here and we get to have a fun discussion, not just giving a talk, but, we discuss and question and learn together. So hello, everyone. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is Weeklywed at Business School of AI, my student community. And I'm going to skip my intro. If you want to know who I am, Google me. Okay. So, and when you do Google, I heard that if you say minus AI at the end, then it was fetching results without the LLM coming in, and then they turned it off. So it's unfortunate. So don't Google me. You're going to burn some trees when you do that. So, okay. Today we're going to talk about AI in AV, artificial intelligence in autonomous vehicles. AI is all the rave. We've been talking about it. Let me check. Let me bring this light down a little bit so it's not on my face there. Okay. So we've been talking about AI. We've been talking about Gen AI and Agent AI, and I'm maxed out. I am not going to be talking about Agent AI and Gen AI or LLM to you in this year because we are taking January to figure out what's real, because one of our goal here is not just to give you a lesson. You can go find that from anywhere, and I give you learning resources and references in my newsletter. So I'll give you other courses and references if you want it. What we want is what is real, because you're all innovators. You know to question and you want to go build. You're entrepreneurs, or you want to make things happen. So we have talked about autonomous vehicles, and everybody who knows me knows that I love it, and I go chase them, and I, collect videos and stuff. And I've taught courses on autonomous vehicle, and I'm lucky to see some of my students from my Stanford AV class right here who have taken that up and who are doing things with that, right? Who are tracking that space at the slightest change and looking for opportunities where they can do something useful for the world, and, do something entrepreneurial or bring it to their companies. So this year, 2025, CES is one of the Consumer Electronics Show, is one of the first events that happens in the year. And it was a lot about AI in the last years, and looks like there's a lot of buzz about AV. In the size of CES, I don't know what percentage of it is AV, but AV is back. And so when I was teaching autonomous vehicle class, I had one class on just on self-driving cars. And then I switched to a bigger one, which had a broader scope about autonomous vehicles. And then I had to switch to AI because everybody wanted AI and everything. So I've done a lot of talks and sessions and everything. And even in Business School of AI, along with David Kerrigan, I've taught a series of classes on AI in AV, or value creation from data from AV, or digital twins in AV, and a lot of bunch of stuff that is real, that we can do something with it, and what was happening at that time in different industries. So what I'm going to do now is, the way I'm planning to structure today is, this is an extensive topic. We are just getting started on AI in AV. So, and we have Emanuele Bianchini, who was here last week, came from CES and gave us a quick update. And so we are lucky he's been able to find time to join us. So I'm going to ask him some questions on some of the things that he saw in CES to elaborate on that. And our superpower is to ask questions. So I'm going to be asking more questions if you don't ask me questions. So let me start with, I'm going to show you a cool autonomous vehicle that is live as a self-driving car in the California area where I am. It's there in Bay Area. It's in San Francisco, available as a robotaxi, and it's in Los Angeles as a robotaxi. I'm currently in Los Angeles, and I'm not allowed to go out because of the leftover bad air, carcinogens in the air from the wildfire. And we are still on a red alert warning. And it's so sad. It reminds me of, the COVID days, because we have to wear this mask, N95, and wear some goggles, and then only go out for a minimum time. It's just too crazy. So I'm very happy. All the more reason why I'm happy to be seeing you guys here. But it just reminds me of, us doing tech very responsibly, because I really don't want to burn more forests or eat up more water. just for the fun of it, right? I wanted to do something useful for the world because I do believe AI can bring value to the world. And especially with autonomous vehicle, the value is it's equitable access of mobility to everyone, opportunities for everyone. And then there's a lot more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a cool self-driving car, the Waymo, that I've driven. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to show you a little video clip where I have done like a collation of various different AVs that I've put together to tell you what are the big pieces I saw in the past that needed to be in the car for the car to become autonomous. So those are two clips you're going to see. And then I'm going to get into what is happening now. A lot of it went away. And then I found my old slide that I did with David Kerrigan. David Kerrigan from Ireland. He's also written a book like me on autonomous vehicle, and we kind of, team up and teach classes and do some fun things. And we love going to chase autonomous vehicles. That's kind of our a common interest. So I found David's deck that he had taught to the class here at Business School of AI about various different applications of AVs. So I'm going to go and ask you a quiz, because some of them don't exist today. What happened to them? Why they went away? And then what I'm seeing as coming back from CES, that's where I'm going to pull Emmanuel in, is to tell us a little bit on the reality. Is it buzz? Is it like posturing? What's going on? Because some of them I see as posturing, but there is, improvement in the technology. Okay. Anybody has any questions, comments? Let me see. Thank you, Suresh. Suresh has actually shared two research papers that I have published with Suresh and Yashashwini on peer-review published papers on topic related to AV. That's it. Okay. And disclaimer, for those of you who are here, I see you're all off camera, but if you come on camera or you speak up, it's going to get recorded. Just by doing that, you're giving me permission to record, because I'm not going to go back and edit anything. This is streaming live on YouTube. Hello, everyone on YouTube. What we are going to do is, starting in the new year, we are going to take the recording and then take some nice edited lessons out of it, and that we are going to be sharing. I have to figure out the logistics and time commitment and all that of that. But that's what we're going to do. So if you're showing up in the video, then you're giving me permission. And just so you know. And for those of you who are here, you can obviously, chat your questions if you don't want to speak. If you want to speak, that's okay, right? And we also have Zoom has a companion, which AI companion, which is taking notes. So if whatever we say by voice, it will start transcribing. And it does a pretty decent job of transcribing. So it does that, so we can get it as notes. And if it's useful for you guys, I'm happy to give that. I've not got feedback from people if the transcription from our Zoom sessions are useful for you. I see more people coming in. Hello. I'm just going to show you the robotaxi. Then I'm going to show you a summary of collation of collation of AVs that are collected. And then we're going to jump into what applications from the past are still relevant. What are we seeing as new technologies? Is it going to aid the same kind of applications we would be thinking? Or is it going to be new things that we can do? Okay, so before I go in, I have a question for everyone here, especially somebody who has taken my class before. Do you see any new application? What do you see as new, or what do you wish to see as new? You can add your comment in the chat. New in the AV, please. Okay. Do you see anything in the new in the AV space? And Emmanuel, you're not allowed to speak because you went to CES and you saw all the goodies. So, your answer is going to be, it's cheating if you say that. Anybody else? And it doesn't have to be just my students from the AV. I see a bunch of people have taken my AI class. And what are you? When I say AI in AV and you showed up and tried to give this time with me, what's your expectation? That's what I'm trying to get to. Are you expecting to learn something about AV? Are you expecting to see what's the new thing and, hear like a news about it? What's your expectation? Just you can type if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue on. Is that okay? Okay. So
I'm curious to see. Sorry, I'm
Yes.
curious to see, there are so many new AV companies, right? I mean, I see Neuro is a new AV company, or, I just want to see what are they different from, let's say, Google's Waymo or Tesla's
Yeah.
cars, right? So I'm just curious to
Okay.
see, what is their value proposition in the market?
Yeah. Okay, just to semantics of when we say autonomous vehicle technology, when Tesla got started, they started saying, it's autonomous vehicle. Technically, they are not autonomous vehicle technology where the car can drive up to autonomously to level 4. And they added cameras and instead of lidars, and they started doing basic stuff like allowing the car to stay within the lane, and check whether the car is close to the next car in front from a sensor, that kind of thing. But they're collecting a lot of data and learning continuously. And so today, when you say FSD or full self-driving car feature in the Tesla, that's not a self-driving car like a Waymo. There has been a lot of promise that the autonomous features would actually they've been trained and improved, and so they can get to a robotaxi level. Not there. And so I do not approve of turning on FSD and driving and trusting the Tesla yet. Maybe they're continuing to learn, they could get there, but it's not there. So when I drive a Tesla, I turn on I rented a Tesla recently when I went to the LinkedIn recording in Santa Barbara, and I turned off the FSD feature before I gave the car to Deepika. So, okay, good point. Neuro has been around. And especially since you're in the Bay Area, you will see a lot of Neuro around the Mountain View area, and they're constantly driving around Castro. There you can catch them. So there's a difference. So I believe Cruise and Waymo are the two cars that have been given permission from the DMV or Directorate of Motor Vehicles to drive without a human driver. So there are different levels of autonomy. Does anyone want to tell me what the levels of autonomy are? Okay, so the basic level of autonomy is that you don't have anything, right? What we drive is 0, right? It's not autonomous. Then it goes up to 5. The 5 is the holy grail, where the car can drive autonomously without a human driver, with no control, and it can drive in all terrains. Think of it like a new driver who's learning to drive. So they will be taught the road rules. Then they would go on a test to get their license, and they would check whether they're sticking to their lane. Are they giving their signals when they turn? Are they stopping at the lights? Are they keeping safe distance from the other cars? And so the basic rules are things like that is in a book that can be taught, is what they're testing us for. The more and more and more you drive, you become street smart. You learn to watch for other drivers. You don't expect them to follow all the rules. You expect sudden surprises to happen because somebody might come and take a U or cut into your lane and change without giving a signal and things like that, right? So that is what the cars go through. So when they start building autonomous vehicle technology, they put that on a car. What happens is the car is just learning the road rules. So the Tesla is learning to stay within the lane. So lane detection using computer vision is one of the basic one-on-ones of autonomous driving. So if you want to learn the technology of doing this, they'll teach you how to build lane detection using computer vision. That's the technology piece. And then identifying the car, identifying all the other cars, all of that is computer vision. That's what was done in the past, right? And then there are a lot of other signals, other sensors. So the LiDAR gives you a 360 view. You might have a radar. You will have all kinds of sensors, motion sensors that show distance from other cars and things like that. You basically, there is a unit in the vehicle, the autonomous vehicle technology layer, called sensor fusion, where it collects all these different sensor data and makes sense of it collectively. So that is the second piece. And then the car takes that and says, okay, now do I stop? Do I move forward? Do I give acceleration? Or do I turn left or right? Or what do I do? And that is the third piece called path planning. And then it's give the control. Just because it thinks it wants to do doesn't mean the car will move. It's called drive-by-wire. It has to give control to the accelerator to give gas for it to move, or it has to, stop and press the brake and things like that, right? To actually make the mechatronics, I think, of it to work, so that the car can actually stop. And correct me, guys, I think it's called mechatronics. If it is not, somebody who knows it, please tell me. I have no ego here, okay? But it's the translation to a physical movement that the car can actually stop or accelerate and move, right? That's the giving the control piece. So those are the four pieces that they build in a self-driving car. Now, different companies are at different stages of deploying this in the road. So from the newbie driver who knows the rules to the driver who can drive in any condition and never get into an accident and is a safe driver, to get there, they have to drive a lot in the roads. That's what they are doing when you see the cars we have like the 60 companies. At least we had 60 companies. I don't know the latest number. I will check on how many companies have license and are testing, because a lot of them got consolidated. A lot of them merged. Some of them went out of business. These things like that happened, right? So the 60 number came down. But a lot of car companies either bought some technologies from autonomous vehicle companies, or they were testing it in their own cars, and then they kind of stopped funding. So Ford was very big, had a lot going in the AV space, and then they found that they were not making money of that. So they separated the AV business separate from rest of Ford, so the stock prices wouldn't be affected. And I think that they kind of shut down that unit at some point. Uber had a autonomous vehicle lab, and I had a student from there, and I remember they shut that down, or they sold it to somebody, right? This happened, like a whole bunch happened in the past. So neuro has been around. So the second piece of it is when they're driving autonomously, they're learning the road. What is it that they're going to do with it? Are they going to carry human cargo? That's a robotaxi or a bus or something like that. Or are they going to deliver things like grocery? So neuro is getting ready. Neuro has a special kind of vehicle by which it wants to deliver stuff. And when the pandemic hit, I think this was on a wave. My class was in 2017 till the pandemic hit. There were a lot of these, and then they kind of stopped because there were not enough humans out on the road. And obviously, they kind of had to shut down a little bit. And so they changed their business model to what they would do. A lot of them started carrying, test kits to the hospital, grocery delivery, and a delivery business picked up, right? And then there's a whole autonomous trucking business. So the robotaxi is the one that has been officially tested by Waymo. So you can pay money in an app, and you can take a robotaxi in Los Angeles, Phoenix, in San Francisco, and I believe also in one of the cities in Texas. Outside of that, Cruise had this other option of not having a human driver and be able to do that, and then did not. I think they got into an accident and they pulled out. So they are not yet. I don't believe they're giving the robotaxi available anywhere that I'm aware of. But while all this is happening, things didn't stop, because the real value is, it's called case. Okay. I'm going to come back to case because I promised video, guys. I'm going to go back to the video. Sorry about that. Let me share my screen. First, show you the Waymo instead of just talking about it. So this is something that I've shared on my LinkedIn. So if you're interested, you can see it. This is Waymo taxi ride that I took in San Francisco. They have like choices. Okay, so you get the idea. It's so smooth, stays within the lane, goes up and down, safe driver, kind of boring driver. Okay, so that's the Waymo, and today you can, take it as an autonomous taxi, and you can use that. And Uber, I told you, had shut down their old AV business, came back and said, when you're actually launching a robotaxi, you're competing with us. And this is the where you all come in, and you can bring your experience from every world that you come into this, building of this new world with autonomous vehicles. Is companies have some core technologies, and then they want to partner with everyone else on what they are not good at, or that's not their core business. So Waymo worked, or Google at that point, then it became Waymo. They worked to build the very safe autonomous vehicle technology. They've never been in an accident, and they are at level 4. Everybody's heading towards level 5, but nobody's at level 5. Level 5 means you drive without an autonomous, without a driver, without a human in the car completely, but you can also you can actually go to any terrain. Okay, so I see a comment from Ananya. Tesla FSD is level 2 autonomy. I will explain what is level 2 autonomy. Thank you for that. That is correct. But there was a claim that they were level 4. They're not. Neuro is level 4. Everyone else says level 4. So basically, level 1 is nothing. Level 2 is that it can do a bunch of these things, that is keeping the car within the lane. Computer vision detection that you can do on the road is the level 2. And then level 3 is, a lot of regular cars are adding these autonomous features as ADAS in the vehicle. So nowadays, when you buy any new car, it has ADAS features. So lane detection has been incorporated into many of the standard cars. Detecting whether you're getting too close to another vehicle and beeping is incorporated. You can see that in many of the cars. So that is how the basic, and the difference is a decision has to be made when suppose you're driving and you're driving continuously in the highway and you're fatigued and you get out of the lane, right? Should the car pull you into the lane, take control, that it has agency, or should it beep? Or should it stop you from going and make you pull over because you're sleepy? So that is where the product thinking, customer thinking that you all bring in from various industry becomes handy. First of all, what are the rules of the industry? Is that acceptable by customers? So the thing that Tesla does is when you swear off a lane or something, it pulls at you. And it does not give you agency. Nothing in the Tesla, in how they're doing, gives you agency. There is a camera that can watch you. And they have started this, that it will check whether you're a good driver, whether you're alert. So if your eyes are closed, and it will turn off your autonomous vehicle FSD technology. They have some kind of ranking numbers they give you based on what kind of driving you do. So actually in the app, it says how fast I drove, did I suddenly press on brake? Like, they monitor a lot of driving features, and then they give a number on how good a driver you are, because they also got into the insurance business. And a whole bunch of insurance companies want that. Progressive Insurance gives a dongle by which they can monitor how well you drive, and based on that, they adjust your premium. So that's what Tesla is doing. But they're using this cameras and FSD features to do that, so that they can, manage their insurance risk. So they turn off, because they got into a lot of accidents with the FSD. But that's all level 2. And deciding whether the human has agency, or whether the car can change its control that way, is the decision that they make in inside the automotive. So in a regular car these days, the level 2, level 3 capabilities are being incorporated as ADAS features. So thank you, Ananya. Ananya was just showing what is level 2, level 3, level 4. So level 2 is partial automation. Level 4 is, high automation. They call it high automation. It's basically like, the driver is in control. Level 4, there is a backup operator. And if they are so confident, they can remove the backup automation, like driver, like the Waymo did, or the Cruise has the option to do. Okay, so I see a question about from Renee. In a future scenario, from research and development point of view, will only autonomous vehicles be on the streets, or will there be coexistence of both? Very good question. Thank you, Renee, for that question, because that was what prompted me to even think about getting into this space. Because I used to drive back home from Stanford, and then I had this Waymo. It was not called Waymo at that time. It was the Google self-driving car driving next to me. And then I was like, this is a human driver. We would wave at each other. We would know, that we are fellow drivers sharing the road. And I realized that there's a lot that they were focusing on getting the car to learn the roads and get to better car cognition for full autonomy. And they did not have uh, um, any work at that point on the human. Not they did not have much on the AIX design of the car at that point. We have some, but how do you coexist? So that prompted me to do some research, and I wrote my 2030, The Driverless World book. The idea is in 2030 is my prediction that we would have a decent number of autonomous vehicles on the road, and there will be humans who still have to coexist. And what does that world look like? And so I wrote this in 2017, as if I'm a time traveler from 2030 coming and saying, we did this, and we looked at these things, and these are mistakes we made and things like that based on what was happening at that time. So thank you for that question. So the short answer is there will be more self-driving features incorporated into regular vehicles. There will be fully self-driving cars and vehicles that I'm going to show you in a minute, a lot other kind of vehicles available. Whether the business model is going to be robo-taxis, or is it going to be people purchasing vehicles. I don't believe consumers will be able to buy these autonomous vehicles. I don't believe that's what it's going to be. It's going to become more a shared mobility model. So and then there's going to be people who still are driving their regular cars, and at least in the transition phase, there's going to be a long transition phase where a generation doesn't give up their cars, or the purpose of using your car changes and the price of that car goes up, things like that, right? So that's how I see there's a period where we're going to coexist with both before we get to a world of full autonomous vehicle. I don't think in my lifetime it's going to be a full only autonomous vehicle cars in the road. So there's going to be, as long as there is more value from autonomous vehicles that is seen by business and somebody funds it, then that segment would grow. So that is what we saw. First, they said it will be robotaxis. Then nobody wanted to build the cat, and there were no robotaxis. They tried a whole bunch of other things, like Neuro for delivery. A whole bunch of companies are focused on that still. I believe Neuro has at least had a deal with Walmart to deliver goods to their warehouse. There were a bunch of competing companies in that space. Some of them were like, commuter cars, or like a long automotive, like a bus, not a bus, but like a 6-seater or 8-seater, like a van for commuters to go between train stations to office complex, things like that. A whole bunch of those were tested out, a lot in California, some in different parts of Europe, very select parts of Europe. And there were a couple autonomous vehicles that were created in India. Another question or comment? Okay, we just had new people join, and welcome, guys. I'm talking about autonomous vehicles, and I'm still talking only about autonomous vehicles. We haven't gotten to the AI in autonomous vehicle. There is AI in terms of car cognition, which was all computer vision in the past. So that is where I am. So I wanted to show you, let me go back to another video, which has a collection of autonomous vehicles I collected at some point. 1 second. So variety of different AVs that I had collected, I've collated it. But here, what I'm trying to show is what I saw as 3 components that you needed in the autonomous vehicle for it to become autonomous, to become a viable business. So this is what I was teaching at courses here. Actually, I have recorded on-demand courses on Business School of AI. I would not recommend you to go take them without, me coming back in live mode. So don't worry about it. If you can see snippets of it, it's fine. If you have an interest in this, I will bring back a course with the newer content. I want to do that, but I need to make sure that you guys are interested in what angle you're interested in it before I do that. Okay. Let me share my screen back. So this one is on Business School of AI, so I can share links if you want to see it. Don't worry. I'm seeing a different screen. And I had done this course along with David Kerrigan. And here we go. I'm not seeing that window, guys. Strange, I'm not seeing that window. Okay, I'm going to close a bunch of windows and come back. Sorry about that. I might have a bunch of clutter in here. So I'm trying to get to a video where I had collated a bunch of different autonomous vehicles in one place. And I'm going to show you what are the 3 components that you need to drive autonomously, okay? I'm going to regret closing all these windows because I need all of them, but it's okay. Okay, I cannot close the Zoom. I close my Finder. Okay. Question. I'm in the mining industry. Thank you, Annie, for this comment. So autonomous vehicles are now being utilized more. I know you're talking about personal or consumer use, so it's parallel the mining industry. Thank you for that. I am not talking only about consumer. I was talking about, you know, where the autonomous vehicle industry was when I was teaching the course in 2017, what kind of things people were thinking. They were trying to get the technology to a shape where it can drive autonomously. So thank you for that. In fact, I started my first course in Stanford as a self-driving car course, and then I expanded it to an autonomous vehicle course because it is other industries. So today, I believe we spoke about agriculture. We actually had a speaker here in Weeklywed comment from what is this, from John Deere, saying, hey, you know, when Google was testing out their self-driving cars, we were doing it already with tractors, and John Deere is one of them. In agriculture space, a lot of stuff happening in Brazil. Mining industry is a given. So thank you for sharing that. I would like to talk to you offline and learn more about that. So let me go back. I found my video back, and hopefully I'll be able to share this time. Here we go. And this is a little dated, so take that in perspective.
Autonomous vehicles promise to make our roads safe.
That was the Apple car.
They bring
This is the Toyota car.
Electric vehicles.
This is the Apple.
Which changes urban mobility as we know it. I'm Sudha Jamthe. I teach.
Okay, you can skip my
autonomous. What are the 3 digital twins in the car? And how do you create business value from this data? The second topic is autonomous vehicle business models. Who's going to pay for this car? Is the consumer ownership model going to switch from consumers buying the car directly from dealers to a B2B model where a fleet of cars will be bought by a rideshare company like Uber or Lyft? What will benefit your industry? Come learn the business model. The third topic is autonomous vehicle product management. When you think of autonomous vehicle car cognition, it is artificial intelligence, machine learning based product. And the entire tech stack on our phone is going to switch to the car. What is needed to understand customer behavior and go translate this into customer experience so that you build the product? So we want data in the car, you learn about business model and product management.
Hello, I'm Richie.
Okay. So I hope that gives you an idea of where we were and while, you know, the 60 companies were working towards that. Now I'm going to put you in quiz mode, okay? I did give you a fair warning. So I went back to what kind of autonomous vehicle options were we looking at, right? When David and I were teaching, what kind of things were we looking at? And I'm just going to do this as a quick quiz. So what I want you to do is tell me, you can speak up. I hear some of you speaking up, and you can also type if you don't want to be recorded. Does this exist today, or what happened to it? Okay, so if anybody knows that, Hi, Adam. I didn't see you were here. Okay. Let me share my screen. So this is something David Kerrigan had shared as part of our Autonomous Vehicle Foundation. Like we had 4 courses on Business School of AI. I still think that basic foundation course is useful for you to learn autonomous vehicle, but I would like a version with what is latest in there. So one is, this is from Japan. This is it's like a closed community. So what they did is they built autonomous vehicles and then they deployed it in university, senior communities, small communities, so that they could test within a small known set of roads. That's what was happening. And we had the speaker from this company, which made the autonomous vehicle that drove in a senior center in San Jose and also the villages in Florida. What happened to those? So these companies were able to test out and build out that level of autonomy, but they could not figure out their business model enough to scale. I thought this was very viable, but they could not scale. And then there was a time where these companies thought, by the time we get to a viable business model and create money and build a fundamental business, it's going to take a long time. You know how a technology industry goes up and down. So they basically took the AV tech and then sold it to some other companies. So that's how this kind of became consolidation. What happened to this one? Remember Nightscope? I've hugged this Nightscope in a mall. I hate it's saying police on it, but it was initially a security robot for the mall. In fact, in my AIX class at Stanford, I've actually used this as an example to do AIX design. What happened to this? This was deployed by police and shut down. And so in New York, and there was a cry against it, it was shut down. Okay, there were robots in hospitals. Emanuele has shared examples where he's seen them, come and deliver and bring things to you in hotels or airports. There is this kind of robots are back. They're called robots, but they're actually autonomous vehicle tech. It's a vehicle. Suresh had taken us to his company where they showed us warehouse robots. So I think the warehouse version of it is real. There was a bunch of them during the COVID time in the running within the aisles. I don't know if they exist. I have not seen them. There are some cleaning, sweeping robots that they exist. A bunch of them, wheelchair ones, I have not seen them. Sweepers, they are there. And then, those in agriculture. This is the big one that has picked up. I believe this was in CES. And if you're interested, I have the recording from our speaker. He was very secretive about it. At that time, it was all new. We didn't want us to put it in public, but we have that from Weeklywed. This one has seen a whole metamorphosis, I would say. Delivery robots. I see one called Say or something like that, some name, which is a delivery robot which comes and delivers food. That's here in the Hollywood area in LA. There is KiwiBot that we have done some project from Business School of AI. We've done a live lab to help them figure out their business model. They were delivering food in Berkeley University. They were trying to deliver some coffee and stuff in the downtown area in San Jose. Then now they've become like an ad business. They kind of drive around doing deliveries or scouting neighborhoods, and they give ads. So that's where they're making their money. What else? Kiwi. A bunch of similar ones, right? Sidewalk robots, Neuro, the one that you were talking about in the beginning. This is a new design of Neuro because it can, it wants to deliver stuff. So it opens up and there's like a whole set of shelves and stuff for delivery. This walking robot, I've had a couple people actually build walking robots right out of school. But I believe a lot of these robot ones are now kind of morphed for police and war. So we see a bunch of them. I don't know how useful they are. Grocery delivery that we've seen, I don't believe they exist anymore. These shuttles, I don't think they exist anymore. The autonomous bus, I have not seen that. This was like a test with IBM in the past, but I don't think that's real. Autonomous trucks, I believe, is real, right? There's a whole industry track that's picking up. Waymo also had this. Tesla also was talking about building a truck. I don't know where that is. I don't think I would put that in the same category. So I will tell you what is case before I switch to the video mode. So I want to stop here. I have not included mining in here, but mining is also in a closed setup where it makes sense because it is safe. The human should not be doing this. The vehicle can drive and take things. And do you want to add anything about what you're seeing with AVs in the mining industry? Annie, if you want to speak up, but you will be in the recording. If you don't want to, that's all right too. And I can talk to you offline and you can tell me later also, we can bring this back. So the comment from Renee is keeping road pricing and increasing taxes on car in mind, especially in cities. What do you mean by that, Renee? There will be a phase where people with lower income will have no other choice than using shared autonomous vehicle while paying for that with their personal data. Do you think this scenario is realistic? I don't think it is a question of low income or high income. All are. We had Debbie Reynolds. She's known as Data Diva, who came and did a session at Weeklywed about data in the car, and every car company is collecting data. It doesn't matter. In fact, even in high-end cars, they're collecting data because there is no law governing this. There's no policy that's actually governing this. And so we're not paying with our data. We're just giving our data away today. Keeping road pricing and increasing taxes on car. So I've seen this in my classes where there's theoretical discussion of people saying, oh, the people who are driving non-autonomous vehicles so might be taxed in a world when it becomes with many autonomous vehicles. I used to get very excited and engaged at such discussion. I don't know, because I just think it's possible, but that world seems so far away. Today, we have 2 robotaxi companies running. We have a bunch of car companies who are driving autonomous vehicles, just learning the road, promising delivery of food or ads. And then we have autonomous vehicles in mining, in agriculture, in some in manufacturing, in hospitality industry. I think it is kind of testing robots, but I don't know with the scalability of that plan with the companies. So it seems far off to imagine that. My vision of 2030 is we will have viable self-driving cars, viable autonomous vehicles in multiple industries. That is real, that it's not like a novelty thing that you will all like show up in big numbers to hear about. And you will be working in some version of that, right? That's my vision for 2030, but it will not get rid of all the gas guzzlers we have, unfortunately. So I left you with what is case. Does anybody who has taken my class know what is case? So case stands for connected, autonomous, shared, electric. So from where we are today to get to autonomous vehicles, we need these 4. Connected means the car all has connectivity. So today, all the cars that are being made have some kind of SIM card and data connectivity. And because of that, they're sending data to the cloud. So that is connected. Autonomous is the level 5 stuff that we were tending to level 5 that we were talking about. That's improving. Shared is the mobility, right? The business model, it becomes more expensive. Existing car plus you add this extra tech, all the sensors and everything. So it's not going to be let me buy an autonomous vehicle and just drive around. I would love to buy an autonomous vehicle. I don't think it's going to be in a human affordable price. So the shared mobility is the model that is happening. So this in CES, one of the things was Uber was back talking about autonomous vehicles. And NVIDIA had some announcement about some cloud technology, and Uber was the partner. And I was thinking, Uber killed their lab building AV tech. They've done a lot of deals with Waymo, some other companies, to say that they are going to provide the app interface and the shared mobility platform, so we can book a car, like a consumer can call on one side and the driver can be deployed on the other end. That's the shared mobility platform. Whole bunch of companies just build mobility platform. And that's what Uber is good at, because they have that, right? Matching the passenger request with the drivers. And so Waymo has partnered with them. So in a Waymo vehicle, Lyft had tested that out also with another autonomous vehicle company in the past. And the thinking is, we know Waymo, we know Lyft and Uber, and so we'll just get that, right, as consumers. And then on the back end would be this autonomous vehicle technology. Why would Waymo want to do this but be hesitant to kind of jump in fully? Business question. Why would Waymo, which has the autonomous vehicle technology, just not want to be the AV tech provider and the car in the back end and want their brand in there? They will not make just a front end of Waymo to just be their fleet provider. So I see comments here. So think of this, when it is a consumer business, it's always about loyalty. So, and trust. And Waymo wants us to love and trust Waymo. And so if Uber buys Waymo cars and then we get a Uber service, we all become like Uber customers, right? And then if anything goes wrong, Waymo has to be called on. And second is, if everything goes right, we're going to love Uber and never going to love Uber, but the provider in the front, right? So that's the idea. So they would want that. So that's always a thing that happens in OEM deals in consumer setting. So the comment, direct experience about mining. So this is a comment from Annie. Thank you for sharing this. I'm just going to read it out. So my company is Where AI in mineral asset business, using AI/ML to extract mineral systems under covered ground. Oh, that's good. That's awesome. I would like to learn more, because what looks like peripheral is where the money is, because this is a new way of providing mobility, bringing things from one place to another. Okay, so since we have Emanuele here, I want to ask him, what can I bring you on air? Is that okay, Emanuele? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, thank you. So tell us, what did you see from Uber and autonomous vehicle technology from the NVIDIA announcement? Is that real? What was the deal behind that?
I mean, I think there are two, the way I look at it from a CS standpoint, there are two trends. One is ADAS plus, like Mobileye made a pretty strong presentation saying, hey, we've been there for the last 20 years. We are enabling autonomous vehicles because we started with the basic of pedestrian detection, pretty much claiming that every single car is almost, it's almost a starting point, and it just like, they've been there, they're reliable, so they developed chips, they developed logic, they developed AI, they enabled the path to an autonomous vehicle. So I mean, they have, the different, that they call it different stages, but I mean, it's still, it's still the same as, the 5 levels. They call it, the surround ADAS, the supervision, the chauffeur, the mobilized driving, which is total autonomy. And, they're just really pushing for that as a provider of intelligence behind the application. So I think one thing I have to say, it's easier for a company that is making products to keep on pushing the boundaries, right? And so it's just like I see a lot of old-time players, if you will. So there's one of the strong push to me is like, okay, we've been working on ADAS, and then we're transferring that, we're enabling mobility. Hence, we have many years of experience versus a startup versus a, somebody else in which the business model is not very clear. So I think you mentioned at one point all those things as you went through all the autonomous vehicle applications. They had the technology, they had the resources, but they did not have a business model that made money. You know, I'm not saying it didn't make any sense, but just did not make money. And at the end of the day, you can go without money only for a certain period of time. So to me, the
You can
learning
go for
is
a very
really,
long period of time if you're making a LLM.
yeah, exactly. But one thing I noticed at CES, you mentioned about uh, so the autonomous vehicle, the way I see it, at least the way it was shown, is from some of the large corporations that the agricultural, they're pushing a lot. And there is a real business case in the agricultural products because, especially for the big machinery, you have, think about the central United States, think about Nebraska, which you have acres and acres of fields in which the farmer is usually operating. I'm not saying 24/7, but they work on the crops at night, and it's an expenditure. You know, it's a really having having an autonomous tractor that is not only seeds, not only works the soil and so on and so forth, but also as a vision system that at the same time is able to understand does the soil need more water, more minerals, more things, are things going. So it makes a lot of sense. And there is a big push for John Deere. Some of there's another, and all of them were showing, um, autonomous vehicle examples. Now, I don't know how many of those vehicles they have actually sold, but I mean, it does create. There's another Kubota, Oshkosh Corporation. And so there are some of the big players, they find an autonomous vehicle within a perimeter in which they don't have to worry about some of the rules and regulations of a regular street. And it has um, a business model that makes sense in a way that it has a financial impact. So if you have an autonomous tractor, you may not have to hire a, a person to drive the tractor, um, you know, for 40 hours, 50 hours, or you can have a single tractor that covers twice as much twice as many fields. Now, once again, those will not be
Sorry,
your.
I want to share the 2017 stats on this tractor business on agriculture tech. This was from 2017 when different companies. This is credit to David Kerrigan. So these were the companies: Blue River Tech, Abundant Robotics, Vision Robotics, a bunch of companies calling themselves robotic companies. What they were doing even within the AG Tech, right? That it's when you say tracker and tractor, and we are not in that. Fruit picking was a couple of them, weeding was a couple of them, packaging along with the picking, or fertilizer optimization. These are all the different companies which had gotten funding and just got started in the AV tech. So I don't know how many of these. I would like to go back and figure out which of these are alive. So when you're saying you saw John Deere, did you see smaller startups also in that AV tech, in the agricultural tech
Uh,
and AV space?
everybody was a tractor manufacturer that had their leading edge tractor was an autonomous tractor. That was the same for um, it was the same for Kubota, which is a Japanese manufacturer. Um, and let me see, I think Caterpillar, Caterpillar were, in case New Holland, in case I was not there, I didn't see it, but Caterpillar were showing something similar. I didn't have time to go and get into details with them, but I mean, I know if one is doing it, you know, other people are. So
Yeah.
it's I mean, I think once again, in to me, there is a business proposition in which they can operate one machine for, you know, and be more efficient without having a farmer driving at night. And have information about the crop optimization, which a farmer say if a farmer does, um, you know, drive the tractor along the farm, he's not going to be able to stop and check the soil.
Yeah.
He may, you know, he or she may see, okay, their plants are doing okay or not so good, but then, so the computer vision is not only for motion, but also to pick up information which can then be processed and maybe more optimized for you know, for what they need to do. So I think in the terms of process optimization, in the terms of product optimization, I think that has an impact for a farmer. And of course, we're not talking like the, you know, the little farmer that has a little yard. We're talking about industrial farmers that
Yeah.
have acres and acres of crop,
Yeah.
and every single hour counts, and every single crop counts. And so you add the autonomy of a vehicle. That yes, it's more expensive, but then they don't have to use another tractor, right? And so they can run it almost. I mean, I'm not sure that I don't think they got into that detail, but I mean, from a concept standpoint, makes perfect sense.
So
Another example.
this was one of the topics we used to discuss, and I'm happy it's coming to life, is when we are thinking about autonomous vehicles, it's easy to think robotaxi or consumer use case and say, oh, I'm not going to use it and it's not viable. Let that be a separate track of people who are testing and making it viable with food delivery or robotaxis. I believe robotaxis will take off. Outside of that, it is a piece of technology, and it is about mobility. So any kind of vehicle that is taking either humans or cargo from one place to another can add autonomous vehicle technology. So what I'm curious, I'm happy to see Caterpillar is in mining, and I said that mining is something that it is going to be, is already using AV tech. Agriculture is obviously using AV tech. So I'm happy to see that. But the question is, in the regular car world, what they started was they said, oh, Waymo is going to make this AV tech. We are not going to make our own car. We are going to add it on to an existing vehicle. And so there were fleets of Chevys that were bought by Waymo, and then they added their autonomous vehicle tech. And a lot of Prius and Lexus were tested with, adding the AV tech easily. And how do you kind of, make that transition to make an existing car into an AV tech was kind of a discussion in the regular car world. So I'm curious with Caterpillar and others who are the names you gave, who are, makers or other vehicles in the heavy machinery industry and mining industry, who's providing the AV technology for them? I don't believe Caterpillar is creating the sensor fusion and the AV car cognition and everything else and then building it. Like, is Mobileye offering? Is there like players that's evolving? That's
Yeah, I didn't dig into that level of detail. My expectation is most likely they hire internal people, they hire consultants, they hire different, and they have the money, right? Because they're large companies, they have the money. Some CEO said we gotta go autonomous, and then they're gonna go autonomous, and it just they
No,
make the
are they going
process.
to build versus buy? If they, just because the CEO says, and I'll say, I'll give you $1 billion, doesn't mean they have the skill set or the resources.
No, but I know companies, for instance, I did work for John Deere in the past, and they are John Deere because the way they do work, they tend to hire appropriately and have plans. So I think if I have to bet some money, I would bet on John Deere before the start.
John Deere is one company that definitely has been building autonomous vehicle tech ground up. definitely
Yeah.
in the machinery world, right? For lack of the right terminology for that. So that I understand, but others I'm not sure. And I want to say one thing about Mobileye, guys. Mobileye was the company that provided the AV technology for the first Tesla cars. So when Tesla said, oh, we're going to add AV, the technology that was behind that was Mobileye. And then Mobileye uses LiDAR and a bunch of other cameras. And then they got into their first accident. The Tesla got into their first accident. And then Tesla blamed Mobileye for it and said, that's the bad company that is giving us AV tech and we're going to take it away. And they took a very radical view saying having a LiDAR is the problem. And so we are not going to use LiDARs. We are going to use only cameras all around the cars. And they have 8 cameras. And that's how it started. And then they kind of started building ground up. Mobileye was not really a bad AV technology. And so Intel bought Mobileye in March of 2017 for $15 billion. And so I remember seeing Mobileye, and I remember seeing it added to various kind of tractors and heavy vehicles and kind of evolve into that. So I'm curious whether there is a whole market segment of companies like Mobileye who provides our AV tech that is catering to the manufacturing, the other vehicles, right? The non-consumer vehicle industry. So I would love to explore and bring that further. So that was helpful. I have one more question. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, one thing was kind of interesting. There was not a huge area for Honda, and all they had is 2 cars, look very futuristic, and they said, yeah, those are autonomous vehicles, but then they didn't really say anything else. So it was more, I felt like it was more like, yeah, this is where we're going, but we're not gonna get you any further information, you know. So they're just like they were sitting there and moving around and had all the videos playing, but it was not, I felt like it was kind of a teaser. You know, so but that's Honda.
Was
Actually,
was BMW there? Because BMW has been at CES every year, and they've been doing something interesting with autonomous or in using AI inside the vehicle. You know, they had this future car vision, right? Was BMW there? Did they have some?
yeah, they were outside, I believe. You know, they didn't have a. It was more like test drive type things, and you know, honestly, I didn't have enough time to cover that as well. But you know, the concentration of the autonomous vehicle type technology was, you know, all in the West, yeah, world car companies used to be, but now they're more, you know, your other similar companies, you know.
Yeah. And there is also, I heard that Volvo CEO had a keynote at CES.
Yeah.
Was that Volvo cars, not Volvo motors, right? Because Volvo car is Volvo Group is actually Volvo cars, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Martin Lundstedt, right, was the keynote at CES. Did you get to attend that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I would like to go check that out. So I feel like we just barely scratched the surface, and I'm so, glad you were there, Emmanuel, to kind of bring us some reality bite, not just what we are seeing in the news. And we did not even get to the NVIDIA Drive OS announcement with Toyota. And Drive OS was their OS in the past that they already had. So I'm curious, are they switching to NVIDIA to do that? Let me see if I can bring this video, because I had this. Come on, it's loading. I had a video in front of the.
There are 65.
Sorry. I had a video. I have a video of the Toyota car. Well, hold on. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen, because Toyota had this Drive OS as their autonomous vehicle car cognition layer. Sorry. Are you guys able to see it? So Toyota had not, invited me to go visit their cars. I got that from most other companies. I didn't know anybody there. So I just went outside and tracked them and took a video. So this was from the past. They had more decent design in the front of them, but this was the research lab they had in Mountain View. And so I saw there was a Drive OS design, a Drive OS announcement from NVIDIA and Toyota. So I would like to pick that up, in a future Weeklywed conversation, if this is interesting for you guys. Yeah, thank you for the time check, Deepika. So I feel like we've barely scratched the surface, but what I'm hearing is mining industry is already using autonomous vehicles. And there's a whole bunch of other industries that are using something like Mobileye. We don't know whether they're building in-house or they're doing a buy decision. We know about robotaxis. Looks like robotaxis was not the rave in CES. But there's a whole bunch of technologies that NVIDIA announced, one with DriveOS with Toyota, and the other with Uber. And the Uber was more a cloud technology for shared mobility platform. So what I'm seeing is mobility platforms, cloud technology is where the AI is going to be used, is assumed. Remember I said case, connected, autonomous, shared, and electric. Our four things have to line up for us to get to this world of full autonomy. And thank you to Renee's question, whether it is going to be all autonomous vehicles or we're going to share the road, we're going to share the road. There's already AV creating value in industries, select industries which have mobility. And so we need to explore that further. But I would like you to think about what is your role in all this. Remember in the very first video, I said, how do you do product management with this? What are the business models? People think of business as sales. It's not. Business model is that creative, innovative way of thinking. How can I create value to customers so that there can be demand and they can pay? And we can sustain an industry, sustain an innovation to scale, to run this as a viable business. So I want you to think about from what you've heard today, even if you're not in the AV space, what you're seeing. So I'm seeing a comeback. If Toyota research lab had shut down, and at least they moved out, we didn't see any of those vehicles for years. And now if they're coming back and saying DriveOS, and we have this partnership with NVIDIA, they're trying to use the GPUs from NVIDIA, and they're going to use that to build car cognition. So we will talk about car cognition in the AV tech stack another time, I promise. What I'm seeing today is a lot of usage and what industries are bubbling up. Some of them are waking back up. There's a bunch of partnerships that's happening. That's my sense on it. Is there anything that I'm missing that you guys saw that popped up that we didn't catch today? Different industries who are using, different industries waking up back again. NVIDIA is a new player in this. NVIDIA was there. I have a student from NVIDIA who was working in the autonomous vehicle driving, just testing out an AV cars. And I was like, why is NVIDIA doing AVs, right? This is what I was asking. I got tried and had actually is my student who had come to Weeklywed and actually showed us some very interesting car cognition technology about lane detection, how hard it is to do lane detection when they change the lanes in the road suddenly and things like that. He did a session on Weeklywed before. So I'm happy to bring some of that back to life that is relevant. And again, I want feedback from you guys if you will be interested in learning more on this topic. Is this something? I don't want to say something just because I'm excited. I will do my own research on that. But if there's value, I want to hear from you whether we should do more on that. Okay, and thank you, Annie. Factory and warehouse seems like a tighter, higher adoption sector. Yes. So Adam is saying that factory and warehouses seem like a higher adoption sector. Definitely warehouses do have autonomous vehicles. We done like a little field trip to Suresh's company and, seen the autonomous vehicle. We were not allowed to record or do anything. So we just went and saw it. So that is interesting. Yes. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, everyone. I really feel like we've barely scratched the surface, and you've just woken me up. And so I need to go do more research and figure out where this is going. But we will talk more on this topic. And before I wrap up, there's a team that's evolving, that's helping me with Weeklywed with speakers. So if you have a speaker that you want me to bring, I would love that input. And there is a speaker form that we had included in the newsletter, or you can talk to us in our Slack. The Slack, again, people are asking me, where's the Slack link? It is in the Weeklywed newsletter that you get. The emails that you get has the Slack. The Jamthe newsletter has the Slack. So come talk to me in the Slack, and we'll pick this up. I want to see what are the topics that we want to talk about for the rest of the year we are building up. So that your input will be very valuable. And then what I'm planning to do is, we are keeping Weeklywed with Zoom as it is, but I'm offering an upsell option called Weeklywed Pro, so that I can bring you more detailed like research reports or guide you on research projects. Again, all this, you will see it in the newsletters that's coming. I don't have any marketing person anymore. So I'm not going to come and send you emails selling anything. But if you are interested, I need to hear from you. So I'll adapt for that. Okay. So with that, I'm going to wrap up, and thank you, everyone. And I will see you